Hey, it's Isaac Rivera's, and I'm doing another check-in, this time with Efrain Vazquez, a loan officer with Compass Mortgage Team. Efrain, how's it going?
It's going good, man. No
All right,
complaints.
cool, cool. The reason why I asked you to get on today is because I felt like, hey, you know what? I know this is your second year being a loan officer, and I wanted to see what your progress has been like. But before we get into that, let everybody know, like, where did you grow up? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up in Clovis, California.
Nice.
I actually went to Weldon Elementary, not
Okay.
too far from the office. Then I went to Clark Intermediate, and then I graduated from Clovis High.
Nice. So Clovis native, you know the area really well.
Yeah.
If you don't know, our office is in Old Town Clovis, which is right here downtown, the heart of Clovis. All the parades and everything go by our office, which is really, really cool. So you went to Clovis High, then after Clovis High, what did you get? Did you go straight into becoming a law officer? Because you look young still, man. So I'm just out of asking.
No, so after I graduated from Clovis High, I went to Fresno State for a couple of years.
Nice.
And then I enlisted in the Marine Corps. Did 5 years in the Marine Corps.
So you're a veteran.
So veteran.
Thank you for your service, man.
Thank you. And then from there, I graduated, or when I got out of the Marine Corps, I went straight to LA because my wife was finishing up her degree.
Yeah.
And then
she was working on her PhD.
yeah,
Oh,
she's
nice.
a clinical psychologist.
Beautiful.
And from there, I started school there. So I went to Pasadena City College and then transferred to Cal State LA. And then I finished up my degree in finance and accounting.
So you're destined to be a loan officer.
Yeah.
In a way.
much.
What was your original goal, like before you became a loan officer?
Something similar.
Okay.
Probably something like financial planning.
Financial planning. Okay. So now that you're a loan officer, I know, like I said, 2 years ago, way different market than we're in today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The interest rates being where they're at, you kind of change. The game changed. You got to be a little bit more. You got to study more products. You got to be more basically on your feet because things are changing and they're changing fast.
Yeah. And being the fact that you understand numbers, you understand finance, you still believe in home ownership.
100%. 100% I do. I see, especially seeing like coming from LA and seeing like how everything changed so quickly over there, seeing like purchasing a home, people getting priced out, people getting pushed out of their homes. Like it's important for people to know that they have options and that, they're closer to owning their own home than they would think.
Yeah. And I know that's huge for you because sometimes when you have a buyer consultation, I've heard it. I've heard you say it to people, like you use your experience through other cities and your travels about the benefits of home ownership and the ability how Fresno's still affordable. A couple of the last transactions you did were not the easiest. Did you guys have to negotiate like I know on 2 of your transactions that you recently closed, you guys were able to negotiate, you and the other agent, new roofs?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people they think, the interest rates are high. It's kind of a bad time to buy, but the reality is it's still a good time to buy. And everything starts with a conversation, a conversation that leads to finding out you're pre-qualified, conversation that leads to you putting an offer in, conversation that leads to making your home more comfortable in that sense.
So like, let me ask you, like maybe like if you think of some of the recent closings you've had, what was the motivation of that buyer? Was it that, was it their lease was coming due, or like what helped encourage them to buy? Because I know you meet with people first and they have an idea, right? But then you help them understand the benefits of homeownership, you and the agent. But like, what was the situation of your most recent closings? Do you know the story of anybody? Like what made that closing so special for them?
Yeah, well, we get to know everybody. Like buying a home is like something that you get to know people. You know what I mean? Like it is something that's special for people. And it is special, and so every client has a different story. Everyone's unique, but like for the most part, people are just tired of rent. They're tired of renting.
Yeah,
and then they're tired of they want to invest in themselves.
Yeah,
and a home is the number one way.
And you help finance it. You help give them the money to do that. That's awesome. Let me ask you, Efrain. I know there was a situation you helped somebody recently refinance. They're a homeowner and they needed equity. They needed equity in their home, but they didn't want to touch their low rate. What was the option you gave them?
Oh, HELOCs. HELOCs are a great way to leave your
HELOC, for those that don't know,
is a home equity line of credit,
like a big credit card on your house.
So a lot of people that took advantage of the 2020 market, right? They're sitting on a lot of equity on their homes and low interest rates. So they don't want to change that just to pay some bills off, right? It's going to be a loss for them.
Yeah, because we know as
So
credit card debt starting to rise, may be considered unhealthy or healthy debt,
yeah,
but they can
well, just
consolidate
anything in
essentially.
general. So whether you want to consolidate your debt, you want to add something to your house, repairs, or
Yeah,
you want to invest
right.
in a new home, which is something that a lot of people are doing. A HELOC is a great way to utilize the equity in your home without touching that first interest rate.
Nice, nice. Let me ask you, man. I know so far in your career, I mean, as a broker, right? How many banks do you work with? I mean, I know you have access, but how many banks do you have access to when you have a client that comes in with a scenario?
So every scenario is different, right? So like I take into account client's credit score, client's income, just anything. So I would say like you juggle around like 15 banks.
That you work with, that you
Yeah.
price them out with?
Yeah. And then like everyone has a unique situation, right? So you want to make sure you tailor the bank to what the client needs.
And
So
that's the benefit of working with you is
yeah,
that
the
you're not
broker
going to just push them to the easiest route. You're going to push them to the route that makes the most sense for
for
them.
them. Yeah.
So that's awesome. And so far, like, let's keep it real. How has your journey being a loan officer been thus far? Because I don't believe they teach this in the school. The NMLS test doesn't teach you
No,
guideline.
no way. I think so. Everything is very hands on. You have to be in there day in and day out. Because the more loans that you see, the more applications that you take, the faster everything becomes. But
Yeah.
at first, it's a steep learning curve. You got
Yeah.
to get in there and you got to just start from the beginning, bare bones. Like start,
Yeah.
taking an application.
I know a conversation we've always had. I said, okay, look, this business, being a loan officer, I don't think they get enough credit, and I don't know when they will, because not only do you have to be a master at finance, understanding numbers, you got to be a master at communication to communicate those numbers with a potential buyer,
Yeah.
right? You got to communicate with the agents and all parties involved. But sometimes you also have to be a master negotiator in getting people to get along, because sometimes the escrow officer may not get along with the notary, or the underwriter may leave in the middle of the day and sit on your file. So you have to be a master of chaos, essentially. You
You
got to
have to
learn
have
how
your
to
hand in
communicate.
everything for
Yeah.
sure. The minute you take away, it's just like anything else. Like if no one's going to care about your file or your client as much as you are. So it's
Beautiful.
important. It's important that you think about that going into every.
Yeah.
You hold on to that in every
And
transaction.
I like how you put that, because not every loan officer I meet has an attitude about things. They just have this like I'm doing you a favor attitude, or it's like the why you bothering me? I'm the professional.
Yeah.
You're taking a unique approach to it, to saying, hey, listen, nobody's going to care about your client more than you do, which is an honorable approach, because you actually care about these individuals. I know some of them, like, you're dang near like now a member of their family because you've helped them
Yeah.
unlock
100%.
homeownership. Let me ask you, what advice would you give yourself straight up? What advice would you give yourself if you could start all over, knowing what you know now, getting into this industry? What would you tell yourself if you could go back in time and tell yourself how to prepare where you're at today to have a great career? What advice would you give somebody, or your younger self, about being a loan officer?
Networking is key. I think the more people that you know, or not only just the more people that you know, but the more people that you allow to like get to know you. Because I mean, you can go out and meet people. That can lead to you don't know who you can help. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like at any given
So
point.
build your network. Start
Yeah,
building the network.
and that's for everything. But like more than anything, I've seen somebody that you know doesn't know how to do something, right? And so if you're alone, if you know the process of credit repair, if you know how a loan works, if you know guideline, like that it allows you to help somebody,
Yeah.
right? And so eventually there's that it will come up. The more people that you know, that those questions will come up.
Yeah.
And then there's just something else that you
Be a
have with that
resource for
person.
them.
Yeah.
What else would you tell yourself? Market early.
Yeah, just kind of like get over any of the fears that you have.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that get further along in this industry just because they're not scared of saying things. So, I mean, you still want to think about what you're saying, because you don't want to say off the wall things, or you
Yeah,
don't want
the
you don't
wrong
want you don't want to
things.
steer someone the wrong way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're like me, when you learn something, you know it. Like that's it. I learned it. It may take me a couple of times, but once I know it, I know it.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's like it's your responsibility to put that information out there.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. I like that. Let me ask you this question. Where do you foresee your career? Like, what are some of the biggest things you're working on right now to help push your career further to help more people? What are you spending your time on
That's
right
a good
now?
question. So right now, what I'm working on is I want to work with like my population, so the veterans, right? What I've noticed is a lot of us get out of the military and we don't know. We don't know what we have, you know? So like,
Your entitlement of what's
and
available.
yeah, what's available to you, like what your VA loan, what you can do with your VA loan, like what your VA loan is, like more than in the recent future, I've had so many vets come up and like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't. And it's like right now, this market for veterans is a great market to be
Yeah,
in
so it's a prime time to buy, especially when
right
you're a
now.
veteran. So you want to, you're working on helping educate the veteran population, which is awesome. Well, Efrain, I just want to thank you for your time, brother. It's a pleasure working with you. I know we have a lot of fun. I know we have a lot of stress, but we're able to bring it together and most importantly, get the client what they want. And I know sometimes things may not be easy, but in hindsight, after it was completed, it was like working out with Josh in a way. You hate it while you're there, but afterwards you feel better. And you may not go back to the gym with him, but you'll be at the gym, right?
Yeah,
It's
sure.
kind of like that. If you don't know now, you know about Josh. He does funky workouts. All
It's
right.
rewarding. It's
It's
very
rewarding.
rewarding.
All right, guys. Take care.